It is early 2019. The chief executive of a UK energy firm is preparing to authorize a wire transfer for nearly $250,000. The request arrived via a phone call from the CEO of his German parent company. The voice had the right accent, the right cadence, and the exact melody the executive expected to hear. He sent the money. By modern standards, that voice synthesis was primitive, but because the request was contextually plausible, it worked. It became the first recorded instance of a corporate theft executed entirely through synthetic audio. Since that call, the technology has moved out of the research lab and into the hands of anyone with a basic internet connection. What was once a niche novelty has become a specialized tool for corporate infiltration. This 2019 theft proved that our most trusted biological defense, our hearing, could be reliably bypassed. It wasn't an isolated event, it was a proof of concept for a new type of financial crime. To measure the scale of this threat, researchers at Queen Mary University of London tested how human listeners perceive modern synthetic speech. Their study confirmed that AI-generated voices have officially crossed the indistinguishable threshold. In controlled tests, listeners could no longer separate generated audio from real human recordings, and in some cases, the synthetics were actually rated as more trustworthy. The data requirements have also plummeted. Attackers no longer need hours of source audio. A 3-second sample pulled from a public video is now enough to produce a clone with 85% accuracy. The telltale signs of early AI, the robotic tones, unnatural pauses, and flat emotional ranges, are gone. Modern models replicate the subtle intonations of human speech with near-perfect fidelity. This explains why a third of trained employees still fail deepfake simulations. They are listening for glitches that the technology has already outpaced. Our biological hardware can no longer detect the fraud. The most dangerous iteration of this technology is real-time voice conversion, or RTVC. Unlike earlier attacks that used pre-recorded files, RTVC acts as a live translation tool. It allows an attacker to hold a dynamic, unscripted conversation. The attacker speaks naturally into their microphone, and a neural network instantly maps the target's vocal identity onto the attacker's speech pattern. With zero perceptible latency, the attacker can listen, adjust their tone, and react to questions in real time. To maximize deception, scammers pair this audio with unusual channels, like WhatsApp, and create a sense of forced urgency to pressure the employee. This combination of flawless audio and induced panic is designed to short-circuit critical thinking. At this level of fidelity, standard awareness training is no longer an effective defense. However, even a perfect illusion can be broken by procedural discipline. In July 2024, a Ferrari executive became the target of a sophisticated impersonation attempt. The attacker used a clone of CEO Benedetto Vigna's voice, claiming an urgent and secretive financial deal required the executive's immediate cooperation. The executive became suspicious and asked the caller a simple, context-based question. What was the title of the book the CEO recently recommended to him? The AI couldn't answer, and the scam failed. A similar attempt targeted an employee at LastPass. Despite the convincing audio, the employee stopped the attack because they recognized a systemic anomaly. The CEO was bypassing standard business protocols by using WhatsApp. These heists failed not because the human ear detected a flaw, but because the targets noticed the request didn't fit the established protocol. The system of verification held where the senses failed. To survive this environment, organizations must shift their core assumptions. They must stop training people to trust their ears and start assuming that every digital communication is potentially compromised. This is the basis of zero-trust communication. Identity is never assumed based on a voice. It must be proven through secondary channels. Employees must hang up and call back using a verified company directory, never the caller's number. The second pillar focuses on internal controls, the use of pre-shared code words, and mandatory multi-party approvals for any high-stakes financial or data request. These procedural redundancies provide a mathematical layer of protection. When the process itself requires multiple signatures, a single social engineering attempt cannot complete the transaction, even if the voice sounds flawlessly authentic. As generative AI agents become more autonomous, the sheer volume of these attacks will increase. Human teams will eventually be unable to manage the scale of the incoming threats. The long-term solution is a defensive architecture capable of identifying and neutralizing malicious algorithms in real time. Future AI defense agents will run in the background of corporate networks, cryptographically verifying the intent and biometric signatures of every digital transmission before it even reaches a human. This would shift the burden of detection away from the employee. Enterprise platforms will be able to automatically flag or block manipulated audio at the network level based on its digital provenance. If our biological senses can be perfectly bypassed by a 3-second recording today, the security of our institutions tomorrow depends on the automated systems we build to protect us from our own perception.